All right, y'all, we're back out here with the Johnson 25-4 short shaft tiller, and been waiting on a few parts. Brand new coils. If you'll remember in that first video we talked about possibly needing coils because we weren't getting any spark, and one of them didn't ohm out right. But now I'm getting strong spark, so we're gonna stick with the ones we got and see what happens. But just in case we got new ones, in case those don't work out. Also, finally, the propeller spacer, and this isn't the thrust washer. The thrust washer is this right here. But this will get rid of all that play we had in the prop. If y'all remember that in the first video too, this was totally missing, and without it you don't want to run it because you won't get on plane, and then you'll just have a lot of wear on that prop shaft. My other intake grate was broke, this one, and I ordered off of shop.evinrude, thinking that this was going to be both pieces, but it's not. It's just one, which is fine because I still have the other one, which is usable. So it was only one side that was broke, so we'll just go with that one. Also, we have one more surprise. This is what we're actually gonna really need. It's fall in Texas. All right, this hilariously small piece right here, give you some reference, is the keeper for the shift rod. Sometimes they break. I just went ahead and bought one anyway, just in case I break the one on the motor right now, getting the lower unit off. So I mean, it's a little pricey, it's $6, but I just ordered it with another thing too, to save on shipping, which is right here, the water pump. Yes, because this one is smoked. I'm pretty sure the last time somebody tried to run it, I think I remember smoke coming out from the intake, so that's never good. Oh, and also you'll remember this can. Last time I said we were going to try to fix it up and use it, but I think that has changed a little bit. After cleaning it out, this is what it still looks like. I know I can get it clean, but it's going to be super hard to get all that stuff out of there to where nothing at all gets sucked up. And any little piece, I don't want that getting in my carburetor. So I think we're going to ditch that. I'm just going to keep it and mess around with it, just, you know, like I said, I do this as a hobby, so just to see if I can get it back to the way it was. But for reliability and testing motors, stuff like that, we're just going to pick up a cheap, well, they're not cheap, but a 3-gallon plastic tank. All right, so to get this lower unit off, we have four fasteners we have to take off. This one, I don't know if you can see it, I'll have to move this nut on the stud right here in the very back, then two of these on each side. There's two on the opposite side as well. Then here's a shift rod right here. On these engines, it's not like the old ones, like on the old 15s, 9.9s, it was back here. It ran through here, and then once you drop the lower unit just a little bit, you had to take that connector off. On these, it runs right through the middle of the water pickup right here. So you'll just you'll need a wrench right here to hold the bottom one, and then to take this nut off right here. That separates, and then there's a keeper, like the black one I just showed you, the plastic one, on the bottom of this rod and the top of this rod. And that is what keeps them from sliding in and out. So you just take the top one off, so that way you can pull the lower unit down and it won't catch on the nut. Came out a lot easier than I thought. I'm gonna leave that hooked on just a little bit, just so it doesn't drop on me. There we go. Oh, yep. All right. So see, that's broke. It should just have a line right to the side, but that is a little more than that. That's missing plastic. The easiest way to get these is with a pick set. And you can probably guess where I got my pick set from. Harbor Freight. There we go. Missing the hole. It just should be this little crack right here. Should have just a little line through it. That's missing a whole lot of plastic. All right. There we go. Also, when you're working on outboards, there's one more tool you must have. The bottle opener. Okay, so that entire time I was not recording when I was taking off the water pump. But got the water pump housing off. We'll do a little reenactment here. But right there, water pump comes off. Impeller inside actually stays behind. But this is the old impeller. This is the old plate. You can see the gasket here too. When I pulled it off, it just came off in pieces. It hadn't been running so long, there are actually cobwebs down here where it runs down to the water intake. So, and hardly any exhaust in here either, which made it super nice and very clean compared to what they're used to. Because usually these things are run a lot. There's exhaust everywhere, because that's where the exhaust runs out. So let's take a look at these two impellers. So you can see obviously so this is actually pretty good. This is one of the better impellers I've seen come out of a motor. You can see right here in the back, it's starting to get a little crack in some of these. And that at some point is where you'd start losing these fins. You get sucked up in there. All sorts of bad stuff can happen. But we're just gonna go with a brand new one since we have it. Easy enough. All right, got a clean surface. Cleanish, a lot better than it was. All right, so we're gonna use some Permatex high-tack gasket sealant because they don't make the OMC gasket sealant anymore. So I think this is gonna work just fine. So basically we have to put this on the outside of the cup of the impeller cup and put it in the housing here. Just so it holds it in the, it holds it inside the housing. Cool, that looks like it's working pretty fast actually. All right, I'm also gonna put some just right here on the back of this, just so we can hold our gasket in place. What I had to do, and you couldn't see it because I stopped the camera for a little bit, but getting the flywheel key in was just not working. Or the flywheel key, the water pump impeller key. That's because I had the impeller upside down. I turned it over and everything went in smoothly. So let's just hope I got the rotation right. The manual was kind of clear, but not really. It showed two different directions that the impeller was going. So we'll see if it didn't work, then we'll just pull it apart and do it again. All right, all installed. Let's see if it'll go back in. now I gotta try to put the bushing back in, which this thing is a little booger, I'm telling you. There we go. All right, in business. Make sure our water tube is lined up. There you go. So while we're down here, we're going to put the intake grates back on. Make sure you got them going in the right direction, just like so. There you go. There's the other side, the brand new ones. Now we'll put the prop back on. We're going to put a little bit of marine grease on there. Just a little bit on the splines of the prop shaft. Not a whole bunch. Alright, there we go. Then we got our trusty spacer right here. Tighten it down and back it off just a tad, and then put your pin back in. That's about all there is to it, really. All right, get that bent up. That ain't going nowhere. Look at that prop. No play. All right, y'all. So we have the new water pump in. We have the new power pack, and we have spark again. So all that's left to do really is to get a fuel tank, get a fuel hose, and try to start this thing. Like if y'all remember in the first video, the compression is really good, and the carburetor has been gone through before, and this engine has not run since. So we're going to take a chance on it and see if it'll start without cleaning the carburetor. If we need to, we'll go into it. But what I'm going to do before I start it, it's already kind of pulled these off, but this is to the primer, and we're just going to prime it, run the fuel through it, make sure it's all clear. There's one going to the top of the carb here, and then one going past the carb into the intake. So we'll make sure those are both clear and see how it runs. I mean, we have the essentials done for a motor that's been sitting, minus the carb, because if you don't know the history of it, go through the carb anyway. But this one, we know the history, so we'll just see what happens. Worst case scenario, we take one linkage off, and I'll show you here. Take this one linkage off and these two bolts and pull it off and see what's inside. Not a huge deal. I'm also going to clean this up. I'm going to put these back in their keepers where they belong, so that looks a little better. Other than that, this thing's ready to run. All right, since curiosity had the best of me, I scored a little 2-stroke mix in there. We're just going to see if she'll fire up. And she does. All right, so that's exciting. That sounded strong. Wow. All right, now all we need is a tank and a primer bulb, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stick around for the next one, because you're not going to want to miss it, because we're going to try to fire this thing up.